Hi, and very good evening to everyone. This is DeFi Singapore, Leslie Daniel Chan, on a Wednesday night. Welcome to everyone. I know you guys have not heard from us for a while. That's only because we've been trying to look for good projects to actually feature on our channel. Do take note that our channel itself is not sponsored, so today's episode is not sponsored. I just want to put out that disclaimer. And also, if you need to do your own due diligence in terms of any cryptocurrencies, please take note that this is an educational channel, and you need to actually do your own financial concerns and research and things like that. So this is not definitely not financial advice, but what we can talk about is definitely more towards the technology side of things and how and what the space is all about. And more interestingly enough, we actually have in the DeFi space itself is that there are multiple bridges being formed, right? And today on the show itself, I have Umbria Network itself, which is joined with me by co-founders Bernie and Oscar Chambers, twins for that matter. Let's just welcome them to the show. Right.
It's great to be here. Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome, man. Yes, Colbert, thank you for joining us. Our crypto buddy across the streets in Malaysia. Thank you for joining in. Yes. So first up for the questions, I think the most pressing questions for any newbie that's coming into the space, getting their hands and feet wet in the space itself. I'm sure they would probably stumble upon different bridges, and you yourself as a project, could you maybe do a little bit of a project introduction, and then maybe also as to what is a bridge, from a newbie perspective. Yeah.
Sure. So the way I like to think about it is, what is the problem right now that we're trying to solve? So there are a lot of different blockchains in the space right now. Some of the really big ones are Ethereum. We have Polygon, Binance Smart Chain. There's a whole bunch of other cryptocurrency blockchains, and a lot of these blockchains have smart contracts on them. So you can run decentralized applications, things like DeFi. The problem with that is, though, that because there are all of these different blockchains that don't really talk to each other, it's very difficult to move your assets from one blockchain to another so that you can use your assets and interact with all of these different programs that are on different blockchains. There's a real fragmentation of liquidity around the cryptocurrency space because of the lack of interoperability between all of these blockchains. And so the next step in cryptocurrency, the next step in decentralized finance is getting all of these blockchains and linking them up together in a way so that people that have assets on one blockchain can move them to another blockchain and take advantage of the sort of use cases that these different software applications might have on different chains. So for example, on Polygon, you have really fast transactions, really cheap transactions. And so there are certain softwares that will be really useful and really good on this particular blockchain, whereas you have, let's say, for example, Ethereum, which is, it has a really good legacy, it has a really strong proof of work security. And so there are different use cases and different programs that would be more suited to that blockchain. And so now that people are building bridges, it basically facilitates a way for people to move their assets from one blockchain to another so that they can take advantage of the different pros that all these different blockchains might have.
Cool. Yeah, that's a great explanation. Maybe you could introduce yourselves to the public itself, left and right, basically.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Barney, and I'm a cryptocurrency developer and co-founder of Umbria Network. And this is Oscar, and he is also the co-founder of Umbria Network and a cryptocurrency developer as well. And maybe Oscar,
we kind of missed that one out. Yeah. Oscar, you want to say something? As in, maybe help a newbie on the street, understand maybe a little bit about what Umbria Network is.
Sure. So Umbria isn't the first cryptocurrency bridge. There's already been a couple of cryptocurrency bridges. The Polygon official bridge is a great example of that. But what Umbria is a new style of bridge which has reduced the fees for bridging by about a factor of 10, and it's about 10 times faster to bridge your assets. And the reason, the way we've done that is we've reinvented the bridging model and how the architecture of bridging, the protocol of bridging is happening under the hood. So bridging isn't really a new concept. There has been bridges, for a couple of years now, which have been able to, facilitate cross-chain transactions between, let's say, Ethereum and Polygon and other networks with smart contract applications. But they were what's called validator-driven bridges, which means that all of the legwork that it takes to bridge assets between one network to another is all done on-chain. using validators, which can be really expensive because all the work you have to do on chain, you have to pay gas fees, and you also have to wait for those on-chain applications to do that computation and produce the final result. So what we've done is we've designed a new kind of protocol called liquidity bridging, which takes away all of the encumbrances of having everything computed on chain, and we have a new system which is way more efficient because it's extracted all of that legwork that used to be completed entirely on chain and incur all the fees and the slow processing times that were inherent of on-chain applications.
And so all these traditional bridges are very useful for people who might want to transact, millions of dollars from one blockchain to another. But if you're someone who cannot, simply afford to spend $150 bridging your assets from one blockchain to another, there really hasn't been a solution out there to move your assets until Umbria's come around and been able to facilitate, transactions for $6 or $7 compared to, 70 or 80 or even more sometimes when the gas price is high. So now that now that we have a bridge that can move assets between Ethereum and Polygon for cheaply and quickly, that opens the door to a whole bunch of new applications that can be built upon this that weren't necessarily economically practical beforehand, and that's what's really exciting to us.
Yeah, so a perfect example of that would be arbitrage opportunities. If you wanted to bridge using the official Polygon bridge, for example, it might cost you $50 to do so, and it might take an hour or two for that transaction to complete. And that might result in you missing out on an arbitrage opportunity between two decentralized exchanges. Maybe you see a price of some particular token on Ethereum, and the price is different on Polygon. And if you only had the ability to move your assets quickly between the two and cheaply between the two, you could capitalize on that arbitrage opportunity. And so now that we've produced a bridge that's way faster to use and way cheaper, a lot more of those arbitrage opportunities are available to traders and things like that.
Right. I've got a question from one of our viewers. Surprisingly, usually I don't get questions, but yeah, this is interesting, I guess. So how do you ensure that it will be secure if there isn't a fraud, if there's no validation? So
sure,
I think this is a very good question. Yeah. So you want to answer that?
Yep. So we have an Oracle program that is looking at both blockchains, and basically when it sees a transaction that has already been confirmed by the source blockchain, so it's already inherited all of the security of the proof of work or proof of stake validation that's on that chain, that is when the assets get given to that user on the other blockchain. And so the Oracle only actually sends a transaction on the destination chain once the security that is in place on the previous blockchain has already gone through. So there's already confirmations on top of the blocks and that kind of thing. So it inherits all of the security features of blockchain technology in that way.
Yeah, the other side of that coin is, with decentralized applications that run through smart contracts, everything is done in a decentralized way. And so you have that sort of security assurance that all the operations that are taking place are happening on chain. But on the other hand, we have trusted applications like Coinbase, like some of the big centralized exchanges that we use every day. And we use them to make a trade. And if we don't trust them any further than that, we take our money out and we run away from there. And you can use our bridge in the same way as you put crypto in one end, you get it out the other end, and then you have it back in your wallet again. It's a quick transaction. And so we have put in place many of the industry standard practices that an exchange like Coinbase that is very trusted would use. And so it's no less less secure in its thought process than a centralized exchange might be, for example.
I also think that there's a big misconception that decentralized applications are secure. So if you look at some of the major players that have been hacked in the last 12 months, people like Cream, Compound just got hacked for 90 million about a week ago. All of the security concerns of decentralized applications are still there. They're just different types of security concerns. On centralized exchanges or centralized programs, there's a concern of things like rug pulling or getting hacked on a centralized server or something like that. But then there's all the security concerns of decentralized applications, like writing code that didn't work or the developer running off with cash. So there's still all of the security concerns that you would get with any software project. It's just it depends on the trade-off of whether you want to have decentralized application security problems or centralized application security problems.
Great. So you mentioned a bit on applications on the bridge itself, using your bridge. And so what is the what's the go-to for someone who has a project or a decentralized app to actually say, okay, I want to take a look at Umbria, and what are the criteria that you guys are actually looking at, or is it everything under the umbrella?
Well, the Umbria Bridge has an API which can be used by any programmer to plug our bridge into whatever software they're creating. So let's say they're creating an exchange that is cross-chain and they want people to be able to trade assets across chain and not really even know that they're doing stuff cross-chain and just have, you know, an exchange that people can use like a traditional exchange might be used. They could use our bridge to do all of that bridging stuff under the hood, not even you know, explain that stuff to their users, because their users don't care about it. They just need to, you know, trade one asset for another asset at a great price. And so anyone can implement our bridge API and interact with our bridge on a software level and take advantage of the features that it has on a software level.
Yeah, and coming back to what you said, Oscar, about how the users won't even have to know about the different blockchains. We feel that all of this fragmentation of liquidity around different blockchains is like a problem that is just a product of the, you know, newness of blockchain technology. Just like the internet in the early 1980s, things were very complicated back then. You really had to be tech savvy to use this technology. And now we're seeing, you know, all of these bridges connecting blockchains together. And in the next, you know, 5 years or so, I think that people won't even need to think about, you know, where their assets are on what blockchain, because we're all going to be so connected, and the infrastructure is just going to be so robust by then that it won't be an issue.
So in continuation to the previous question, there's that Kevin is also asking, if you are sending it back to the chain, are the fees and the cost is going to still take place, basically, right? Because we're using the bridge to send from, you know, from the ERC20 to the Polygon network, and then from the Polygon network back to the ERC network. Is there still fees going to be on those platforms itself?
Exactly.
Yeah, so the cost to use our bridge basically just boils down to the cost of 2 transactions and paying the liquidity providers. So if you want to go from Ethereum to Polygon, you have to pay for an Ethereum transaction to get to the bridge, and then you have to pay for the bridge to send that final transaction on Polygon, which is like basically free, but not quite free. And then there's a small fee for liquidity providers as well. But once all of those are summed up, in comparison to the other bridges that are currently available, it's about 1/10 of the price, and it's also in the order of, you know, 1 to 4 minutes rather than 1 to 4 hours. So it's definitely advantageous, our liquidity model.
Definitely hear that. Yes, I mean it is a service being provided by you guys, you know, for especially for people who want to move assets across the, different chains, and so that's one of the biggest things available for that matter. Yes, of course, Calvin is on fire here. You guys want to take this question? The next one, it says, how different is it from Dot's parachain, which is probably the other bridge that you were talking about in terms of the on Polkadot itself?
Well, I think the way to look at our project in comparison to a lot of the other solutions out there is that our project and our protocol is dead simple. It only does one thing. It looks at the blockchain and says, who sent me stuff? And when it figures out that someone sent it stuff, it sends it back to them on the other chain. So it doesn't do any of the expensive and complicated validation stuff. It doesn't do any, you know, crazy magical sharding stuff. It gets crypto and then it gives it back wherever it needs to go. So in comparison with any other project out there that's doing bridging, it's very, very simple. And that's why it's so cheap and so fast.
Yeah, and Polkadot are doing a lot of really cool abstract stuff with spooling up blockchains on the fly and you know, getting all the interoperability stuff there and being able to plug into Bitcoin's blockchain and being able to plug into a Web3 EVM compatible blockchain. What we have here is something, yeah, like Oscar said, dead simple, and also something that's live in the ecosystem that people are using, that millions of dollars of Ethereum is going through right now. And Polkadot, you know, they have some really interesting white papers. They have a lot of technology that's being fleshed out right now that's very interesting. But a lot of the stuff that Polkadot are spouting right now doesn't actually exist, and it probably will do, you know, in the medium term. But what Umbria has right now is useful to people that are, you know, interested in bridging between Ethereum and Polygon, and something that is being proven now to be, you know, super useful and really an innovation in just how quickly and cheaply you can move assets between chains.
There is a slight difference between, you know, when I first went in DeFi and I was observing the different decks, basically. So it's interesting how that has evolved 2 years, or probably 2 years ago when I first saw it, and from there, it actually moves into its current space where you guys are actually are going beyond just a bridge, because you're actually connecting the liquidity providers onto the chain itself, onto your bridge itself. That's something I don't really see in the market. And I like the fact that you guys have really, you know, mentioned about it. So I've actually had my screenshot earlier just to show. Am I on the correct place?
This
the
is
correct.
the bridging page. Yep,
Yeah.
for sending assets
Okay.
over the blockchain.
So this is really cool because at the bottom here, I can actually see pool and earn, which kind of forms like a DEX in the first place, right? And so, are you guys considered more towards like a combination of both or a hybrid of both? How would you describe that?
Yeah, so we've implemented a novel product here, something that no one's ever done before, and we've coined
Mm-hmm.
the term liquidity bridge for this particular program. And essentially, the way it works is a user can provide liquidity, a single asset, and earn interest on that asset when people bridge that asset through the pool, through the bridge, I should say. So if you provide Ethereum, for example, in the pool and earn section, that liquidity that you provided will then be used to facilitate the bridging of Ethereum on the Inani bridge. And so every time someone bridges Ethereum, there is a 0.5% fee for doing that service. And 0.2 of that goes to people that are providing Ethereum in the system. And then 0.3 goes to people that are providing Umbria, which is our governance token, into the system. So the great thing about our liquidity pools is that it's not a liquidity pair that's being added to the pool. And so there's no impermanent loss. And what I mean by that is when you're using something like SushiSwap or Uniswap, you have to provide two assets into their pool as a pair so that people can swap from one to the other. And that means that if the price of one goes up, you're actually losing that upside because your liquidity pair gets balanced between the ratio of those two tokens and what they're worth. But with our bridge, because you're only adding one asset to the pool, it's not pegged to something else. And so if Ethereum goes through to the moon and you have Ethereum in our pool, you won't lose any of that upside. So there's no impermanent loss. And that means that we're pretty much, I think, giving the best APY for Ethereum of anywhere on the internet right now. And
I've seen the
as well.
rates. Yeah, it's quite. I was actually looking after Binance, right, in Singapore itself. We're actually looking for places to actually park the assets, and your platform actually opened up my eyes. So I might want to just dabble into it and play a part in it for that matter. I can see that there are other assets across the way. Kelvin is also asking, that do you guys have any plans for BSC, which is Binance Smart Chain? Yeah.
Yes, we do. We're actually right in the middle of implementing Binance Smart Chain right now, and we're looking to implement Solana, Avalanche, Phantom, probably Bitcoin as well. Optimism.
Yep.
Any EVM compatible chain, KuCoin Community Chain,
Wax.
Yeah, all of them. And so
Wow.
now that we've built the infrastructure, it's really not that difficult from a technical perspective for us to kind of roll this out to all these different chains. But for security, we're basically rolling them out nice and slowly, seeing what people in the community want us to do, what sort of tokens people need to bridge. Because at the end of the day, this is something that we really want to be useful. And the way that this product is going to be successful is listening to the community, seeing what assets they need to bridge, and then implementing those so that our community can get the most out of the bridge.
Yeah, a lot of projects that we've seen, the trouble they have is that they have a lot of technical debt. So they have great ideas and they make big promises about the tech that they want to deliver. But then when it comes to actually implementing that tech, that can be very difficult. But the good thing about what we've implemented here is that it's a platform for scaling out to other blockchains and to other assets. So the technology is all there. And now, as long as we walk at a steady pace with security in mind, we can expand this out iteratively over the next few years and really reach the far corners of the crypto space.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about it is the more bridges we add, the more coins we add to the bridge, the higher the APY for our Umbria holders. Because essentially any asset that gets bridged over between any blockchain to any blockchain, a percentage of that fee goes to the people that are providing Umbria in the liquidity pools. And there's no cap on how many assets we add or how many blockchains that we add to this bridge. And so the longer this project goes, hopefully the more fees will be generated for Umbria users.
So just to reiterate what you just mentioned, so as a holder of Umbria, which is the DAO token that we're going to have, we hold it into our wallet or on your bridge itself, we are going to get some level of rewards from the liquidity pool providers, basically. Is that
exactly in the native token? So you'll earn Ethereum every time someone bridges Ethereum. You'll earn Tether when people bridge Tether, and all the other assets as well.
Okay, cool. Wow. Okay, so that's the utility function of the DAO anyway. So the DAO token. Awesome, man. Yeah, Kevin's asking another question. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, we've got
I
some
love it.
a serious guys. I didn't expect this, but yeah. What's the difference? What's the main difference with 1inch?
I think 1inch is a decentralized exchange, kind of like Uniswap. And
Yeah.
we don't swap assets on our bridge. We just provide the functionality of moving the asset from one place to another.
Yeah, I think a more general answer to that would be that the reason that Umbria is different to all the other bridges is that we're not validator driven. We're not we're not tied to the gas price of executing a contract on a particular network. And so if the Ethereum gas price goes up a lot, the price of using our bridge goes up a bit. If the gas price on Ethereum goes up a lot, the cost of using the Polygon bridge goes up a lot. And so our bridge, from what we can tell so far, is always going to be the cheapest and the fastest way to do this thing. If the other bridges are going to stick to the validator-driven model, because they're so tied to the congestion of the respective network, that they're always going to be very, very, very expensive in comparison.
And the great thing about this is it's so new, and people are really just now starting to realize that this bridge exists and that they can do things for 10 times cheaper and 10 times quicker. I mean, the project went live about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And so, there's been, no time really since all this stuff happened. And so we're seeing a crazy adoption at the moment.
You guys
even within 5
weeks.
Even within 5 weeks, we've added already 7 different assets, and we're about to launch the second chain. And so, who's going to know what's going to happen in 6 months? There's going to be a lot of development from now to then, and hopefully a lot of assets and a lot of adoption.
Well, I'm seeing a total of 2.36 million being locked in TVL itself. So for 5 weeks traction that you guys have, congratulations, guys. As a fellow project owner to another, I think that's not a small feat to actually achieve. In all honesty, is this the link that the guys that people can actually go to, bridge.umbria.network? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they can go to there, and then there's some information about how it all works and links to the pool and to the bridge, depending on what the user wants to do.
And to all the documentation as well, if you're looking to implement the API or just want to know how it all works.
And if somebody wants to buy the DAO token, just for the sake of owning a portion of your project and wanting to be a part of the project itself, how do they actually go about purchasing that? Is it available on a bridge? Is it available on a DEX or a central X?
Yeah, we have it a version 2 Uniswap pool. So if you head over to v2.uniswap.org, we have a pool there where you're able to purchase Umbria for Ethereum.
Yeah, and there is a link on the bridge page, and there's a link on our website as well, so you'll be able to find that there.
Yeah, so the official website is still this basically, and nothing more than that. Guys, please don't go to any other links basically. So use the official ones. And I'm very glad that you guys actually are able to actually join us on the show. Yes, any other final words, guys, before I close off? It seems like today is already really fast, and we're only 20 minutes.
I have a final comment. That this bridge that we've created can be expanded out into many other areas. One of those areas is liquidity migration from exchanges into a main hub exchange. What SushiSwap did is they said, if you're in Uniswap, you can migrate to SushiSwap, and we'll give you some extra sushi on top of what you're making now. Our bridge can facilitate that across chain. You can move you'll be able to move from any DEX on any chain into the Umbria DEX because of our bridge. And as we expand this out, it will be the bridge into the main hub of crypto from any of these other networks. And so what we're doing now with the bridge is just scratching the surface. And it's a proof of concept. We've proved the concept now, and now we just need to extrapolate that out to all the other various corners of the crypto space and really unify the crypto space and create an ecosystem of frictionless transactions.
One final thing I'd like to say as well is if you're wanting to chat to us or get help about how to use the bridge or anything like that, we're very active on Discord. And if you're a developer or you're a marketer or anyone who wants to get involved, it's a community-driven project, and so everyone's welcome to contribute or just chat about development or whatever it might be. And so we'll be available on the Discord anytime anyone wants to come have a chat.
Very nice. I mean, it's cool that I'm able to actually, or maybe we could even do a small working video just for the sake of doing that. I'll stay connected to you guys. I'll probably get my team to actually come and talk to you guys about how to use Umbria itself, and more on a technical how to use a video basically. Let's connect on that. Thank you, Kelvin, for watching the show. Yes, we're learning every day in blockchain and crypto. It's never the same. Yesterday, and the space has really grown in such a short period of time. I just want to thank you guys because I've covered everything, majority. Right? You guys want to share anything else other than what I've covered? Your milestones you have also shared as well. So if there's nothing else, we can actually have a very short session today.
Oh, sure. Yeah, just maybe one more thing. If there's
Yeah.
any projects out there that need cross-chain bridging, particularly to Polygon right now, but we will be expanding in the future, let us know, and we can talk about integrating. There's been quite a few projects who've approached us and that we've partnered with, such as Zrun, Avegotchi, Crypto Island, a few projects like that, and their community has been finding it a lot more easy to onboard onto Polygon and onboard into their platforms now. So if there are any projects out there who are encumbered with only validator driven bridges and they're finding it quite difficult to convince people to go over to Polygon, Umbria might be the solution to that, because it's a factor of 10 cheaper and a factor of 10 faster.
Well, if Avegotchi's partner up with you guys, I don't see why. That's a big name on under your belt itself. Yeah. So,
Sure.
I would bring this back to my team again and update my guys as well. Letting them know that you guys have really transcended the bridge over to Polygon itself. Yeah. Bunny, any last words? That's about it. Yeah.
Any last words?
Just that I'm overwhelmingly excited about where this is all going. And this really feels like a paradigm shift, just like how ETHLend, invented Uniswap, and that was a paradigm shift in cryptocurrency. And so all I can say is everyone who's in this position right now, listening to this kind of thing, you're really early, and this is a really exciting time to be in crypto.
Yeah, this really reminds me back when it was in 2019, just about the next burst of thing. Yeah. I do want to have asked one question. So I did remember someone asking me about this before we go. If the Ether gas prices come down, just for the sake of conversation, right? If it goes down, where does bridges like yourself, how would you guys position yourself? Because right now the whole use case is because Ether is just too damn expensive, right? It's costing us like $40 to $60 and per transaction, basically, right? So yeah.
Yeah, well, the Ethereum blockchain has a fixed-ish block speed. And so it doesn't really matter where the gas price goes. If it goes up or down, our bridge will still be by far the fastest. And the fees for our bridge on the blockchain level are just a fractional proportion of the validator driven bridges. So if they get cheaper, we get cheaper too. The only downside I see if the ETH gas price goes to basically zero is that our liquidity provider fee will remain constant. So the minimum viable bridging size, it might be at $10,000 now. The maximum viable size being 10,000. It might go down to 5,000. It might go down to 3,000 before it's not worth it anymore. But then the gas price will have to go really, really far down for our bridge to no longer be viable. It would have to go to zero. So, and even then, it would still be way, way, way faster.
Got it. Thank you for their answers. And thank you for sharing, Bunny and Oscar. Yeah, right.
No problem.
I think on that note itself, today we kept it really short. I'm glad that we are able to actually have such a short session. Look forward to having us, maybe covering a little bit more on Umbria's, the bridging process itself, and as part of our tutorials or online videos itself. I just want to appreciate your time for you guys all the way from it's in Gibraltar, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Gibraltar. Yeah.
So you guys are probably day, ours is at night here. I just want to thank you for your time, taking this half an hour of your time, and I just want to say thank you guys for joining us on a Wednesday night for my viewers out there, and do like and share our video on YouTube itself. We're on Facebook as well on the groups itself. So do tune in as next week itself, where we have other projects that's more interesting for us for the matter. All right, thank you, Barney, thank you, Oscar.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.